And then everyone, I'm just going to send the link over to Nathan now, and we'll get going. Where my phone starts space that is. There we go. Um, yeah, as always, if anybody has any questions that they want to ask Nathan, fire them over, and I'll get through as many as I can. Hello. Hello.
Hello, you alright, mate?
Yes, mate, how you doing?
Not bad, mate.
Good, good. Thank you very much for joining me. I know it's a busy week for yourself. Last week, leading up to the fight, you must be buzzing for it now.
Yeah, I'm excited now, mate. Obviously, just like this last week, it's a bit of just like just waiting game, really. Like all of the training and stuff's done, so I've just been chilling out, really. And well, I've had work a couple of days, but apart from that, just been chilling out and getting this weight off.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we'll jump right into it, mate. So, for those just joining, I am joined by Nathan Little Red Haywood, ahead of his fight this weekend at Octagon in Newcastle. Big event. Second show for Octagon in the UK. First one of the year for them, but we'll come on to that a little bit later. So, just like to start nice and simple with everybody. First time on the show. How did you get started in MMA?
So I've been like I started like your normal like martial arts when I was a kid. So I did like kickboxing, karate, taekwondo, all that sort of stuff. And it was just sort of a natural evolution for us, really. Like as soon as I seen MMA. I just wanted to do it really. My kickboxing instructor's son, he was like a bit of a name around the area and stuff, and I think I wanted to be a bit like him. So I think that was really it. Really, I just went to taught my dad into taking us to like an MMA gym as soon as I was like, I think I was like 14 or something. I was like, oh, I want to do like MMA now, and then he got us into it. Really, my dad was good like that, and my mum and that like they just put us into everything I wanted. Really, like I quit so many sports as well, so they did like good to keep on with it.
Yeah, it's paid off in the end, clearly. Have you ever had any thoughts about trying about in kickboxing, like professionally or anything like that?
I would like just for the just to stay active, but I think at the minute it would just not be worth like the risk of injury. Do you know what I mean? Like if I went and did one of them, like I wouldn't really get much out of it now, considering like I'm like signed and stuff like that. Do you know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like before, if I wasn't like if I couldn't stay active and stuff, I might have considered it, but at the minute, not really.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense in fairness. Um, So mentioned the nickname there, Little Red. If I keep looking to my side, I've got YouTube open there as well, just in case anybody drops a comment. So, um, I'll just keep checking that periodically. But the nickname Little Red, who was it that gave you that?
It was a lad called Davey at a gym I used to train at called the Lodge. They used to call us like there was another lad called Nathan there, so they used to just call us Red, and then they called us Young Red, and then we were at a show, and they were like, "Oh, what's your fight name?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't have one," and they were like, "Oh, Young Red," and I was like, "Nah, I didn't really like that," and then they were just like, "All right, sound Little Red," and then I just liked that, so it sort of just stuck.
Yeah, Young Red doesn't quite have the same ring to it, does it? Doesn't have
Nah,
the same feel.
and I'll be like old eventually, and it'll not fit no more. Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Um, One thing I noticed from looking at your social media profiles is, and just like pictures of yourself, you like to incorporate a lot of like Japanese symbolism, in your, in your social media and things like that. Is that got a like personal meaning to you, or are you just like a fan of the culture?
I think I'm just like a fan of the culture. Like I am like obviously I've done like karate since I was like a young age and stuff like that. So I think I'm just a bit of like a karate nerd, really.
Yeah. Do you think now, obviously, you mentioned like when you were a kid, karate was like one of the big things, and it was when I was a kid as well. Do you think we're now starting to see a shift where kids aren't going to want to go into the likes of like karate or taekwondo? They are going to want to start going straight into like MMA classes.
Yeah, I think so. I think with karate it's like a funny one because like karate is like sometimes definitely boring. Like it's like it is definitely a discipline. Like you've got to like no one wants to go and like wait, especially me. Like I've got a proper like ADHD brain. Like standing doing like katas and that's terrible for me. But I
Yeah,
think it was definitely good for us like growing up just to be forced to do something anyway. Like that was like a bit like boring and just tedious sometimes. But yeah, I think you will see more people going straight into MMA. Like, but you definitely like lose something as well because I think some things in karate like are taught and like people don't understand that that's like not the way you actually do it. It's just the way it's taught because it like builds other attributes. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
like a lot of movements are like big and strong, and you would never really do it like that. But it's like it's just to like accept. It's a weird one. It is like because I get that like a lot of like these traditional martial arts aren't really that practical. Like if you've been boxing for like 6 months, you'd like knock most black belts in karate. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
especially like the state of what some karate people are. But then like if you get really good at karate and you actually understand what it is, it's actually like a proper like good base for MMA anyway. It just depends on where you go and stuff. But I think like the traditional martial arts have definitely been watered down a bit.
yeah. You mentioned it being a good base for, your MMAs and things like that. What did that when you first started MMA, did you find that you had an advantage over some of the like guys starting at the same time as you?
I think what I did right is like I sort of like started MMA and then was just like, oh, yeah, I'm an MMA fighter now, so I don't really do karate anymore. So through like a lot of me, I like amateur fights. I don't really look like a karate guy, but then like in the gym, I would always use it. And then like I was like talking to Fisher about it, and Fisher was like, "You're a karate guy though," and like then like we just started like working like all me like back to basics with all my karate stuff, footwork, like all my long kicks and stuff like that. So it was really like sort of like it re-emerged at TFT, I would say, really. Like from like I still always did karate and stuff. Like I mean like the club that I started at, like it's called Junsu Shotokan Karate. It's in Belmont. I still go there every now and again and stuff and like keep my head in the door and stuff. But I just sort of neglected it for a while and then obviously like I think like my pro debut, I think he was actually pretty surprised by it, like by the side kicks and stuff, because I don't think there was much like footage of me actually doing that sort of stuff, even though I used to do it all the time in the gym.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting you say that. It's obviously sort of a bit of a kept secret in a way, I suppose, for you, isn't it? Like you say there, your first pro opponent wasn't really expecting that kind of thing out here. So it's something you've got in your locker that, a lot of other fighters may not be able to really bring to the table.
I imagine I'm super hard to get sparring partners for because of it as well. Because like you're not gonna get like I've sort of done like this like raj mix of like taekwondo and karate, and it doesn't really fit into either of them. So if you get like a taekwondo person, it's not really the same. And then obviously like we box a lot of TFT as well. So I think I've got this sort of like weird like in between style of like a lot of different things, and it's a bit of a weird one for people.
Yeah, I can imagine. Um, so looking back at your amateur career, I was looking at it today, and you had, I think 15 or 16 fights before turning pro. Do you feel that you'd achieved everything you could as an amateur before turning pro?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I could have without it just being like just wasting time now. Like obviously if I'd got into it, like if I'd got like I think obviously the amateur scene's a bit bigger now and it's easier to get fights and stuff. Like I probably could have had more amateur fights, but I definitely could have had less as well. Do you know what I mean? I think competing's more important than anything. Like I've competed since I was like a little kid.
Hmm.
So like I don't really get like I do get like anxiety, like competition anxiety and nerves, but like I just think I deal with them really well now. Like I just understand that they happen and there's nothing you can do about it. So I think as soon as you get to that point where like you can just sort of get on with it, then you are right to go like professional as long as the skills match like the mindset. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, I noticed on your record, this is from Tapology, so I'm not exactly 100% sure how up to date this is, with it being Tapology. But looking on there, due to some cancelled fights, you went from 2019 to 2022 without a fight. How difficult was that period for you?
It was a bit crap. Do you know what I think? Right, that was like a mix of a lot of things, you know, because I got like a kind of bad injury. Like it was weird, but it was through COVID. So the
Hmm.
injury itself wasn't actually that bad. Like I got hit in the knackers, right? And like my ball just like swelled up, like, and it was
Hmm.
massive, mate. Like I'm telling you, like the size of a potato, right? And like because it was COVID, they wouldn't operate on it because it wasn't like life threatening. They were just like, oh, like it's just like I think it's called a burst hydrocele. They were
Right.
like, it's not like actually dangerous, so like we're just gonna leave it until like thingy. So I had to like keep hammering on and hammering on to try and get it fixed. So like I couldn't really train. Like it was literally like in the way. Like I can't understate how like ridiculous it was, mate. Like it was stupid. So I sort of had that to deal with. Like I tried to like train around it as best as I could, but it wasn't much.
Yeah.
I couldn't even like throw kicks in that really.
No, no.
So I was a nightmare, mate. I had that for like a year and then COVID and that as well. So I think it was just a bit of like all of that mixed together. So it was a bit tough, especially for me because I think like training and being in camp sort of gives us like me purpose in life.
Yeah.
So like without that, I sort of just feel like I'm a bit of a bum.
Yeah, I mean it's mad because you look at your record and you're so active as an amateur. You were fighting 3 or 4 times a year at least, and then you had that big period out. It's like from one extreme to the other for you. It must have been like was was it easier at the start, or did it sort of get easier as it? I can imagine it sort of started out easy because you're thinking it's not going to be that long, but then as it progressed, it got worse.
It did. It's sort of like it sort of went through all of them because I was meant to have like a really good amateur fight. Then I was meant to fight that Lewis Lee Scott, and I think that would have been like a
Mm,
like a mint fight. Like
definitely.
especially like at the stage I was at, like and like he was at, like obviously he's like a few ahead of me now, like in fights and stuff. He's like because I had that time off. But I think that would have been a really good fight. So I was a bit gutted at the time because that was like a big one for me. I was like, oh, this is going to be a good one. So, but then straight after, I was like, you said, I was like, ah, well, I'll be like back in the gym soon and that, but it just kept dragging
Mm.
on and dragging on. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine what it must be like for someone like yourself. You've got that routine, like you say, you've got that sort of purpose through your training camps and things like that, and then to not be able to do that just must have been the worst for you. Um,
It was bad, but then like if you like look at it in a way as well, like I suppose like when I came back, I was really like motivated again and stuff like that. And sometimes like even if it's a bit of a forced break, a break's not the worst thing ever. Like it's put us a bit behind, but I'm still young and stuff, so I've got plenty of
mm,
time.
yeah. So when you finally got that first pro fight confirmed back in 2022, was that just like a big relief more than anything?
I do you know what, actually I got like another. Oh, you know about the cancelled one? I like because another like when I was meant to make my pro debut. Like, I think I was meant to fight somebody, and then they pulled out. So I got this other guy. He was probably just like a bit of like a journeyman. Do you know what I mean? Just filling in
Yeah.
last minute. But then we had like this terrible snow, and he actually like fight day. The fight pulled out,
No.
so I missed my pro debut for the first one as well. So it was a proper like that was the worst, that one, because
Yeah.
obviously I'd sold all my tickets and that as well. So then when I finally got my proper one, and it was against like I knew this guy was gonna like sort of show up because he was from like that he was from this good gym down south, like the decent anyway. The
Hmm.
ones that did that show about on the I think it was on BBC Three. I forgot what it was called, but they did a show about them. Um anyway, but I knew he was gonna show up really. I was pretty confident because he'd had like a good few amateur fights and stuff like that.
Yeah. So coming on to this weekend, you're due to fight Roman Paulus. Hopefully I'm saying that right on Saturday in Newcastle. First of all, I mean, so obviously you're from Durham, I believe.
Yeah, Durham.
Do you class this as a like home city fight for you? Is it as close as you're
Yeah,
ever going to get to one?
because I'm not like a big football fan, I just think of the Northeast as like sort of like one place really. Like I don't really like some people are probably like, oh, I'm not from there, but like sort of like all my mates are from like Newcastle, Sunderland, Middlesbrough. Like it's a kind of mix, Hartlepool. So to
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
or just like the Northeast to me. So yeah, I would consider it a home show. Yeah.
That's good, yeah, because it saves me trying to decipher whether you're a Geordie or a Mackem. Then I know that causes problems.
I'm
So
a Yapper.
I'm glad you don't have to go down that road.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm neither of them. Pit Yakka.
But no, like you say, football, Northeast, it's enormous, isn't it? But um, what's it mean for you though to be featured on a home card in such a big promotion?
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? And especially like the way they've been promoting me as well. Like I feel like I'm probably like one of like the stars on the show at the minute. Like I feel like I'm probably getting me 15 minutes out of it. The proper promoting us really well and stuff. So,
Yeah,
but it's minted. I think being on like the home one for me first one is sort of good as well because it'll sort of like eases in. Like, do you know what I mean? Like these big shows. Like maybe if I was going abroad, I'd be like, oh Jesus, there's another thing to contend with. But at least it's just down the road. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. No, I mean you mentioned there about how Octagon have promoted you, and they're very good at that. They're really into telling fighters' stories, and I think that's why they're doing so well. People, engage with the fighters kind of thing, and even earlier today they put a video up of yourself talking about the fight and things like that. It's just the little things, if you're in a UFC or something, maybe on a ceiling fight or something like that, they wouldn't promote you in the same way, would they? So, fair play to Octagon, that they're brilliant at that. Um, how much do you know about your opponent?
Where he's got like a canny bit like out on him. Do you know what I mean? He's got like a lot of fights and stuff. Like he's got a lot of pro fights actually for being like 3 years younger than me. He's like been like smashing through the fights, so he's got like loads of footage I can like go back and watch and stuff like that. I let Fisher do a lot of it as well. Like Fisher, like don't get us wrong, I still watch his fights. I just think Fisher's better at picking people apart than me at the minute. Like I'm getting better at it, I am, but like Fisher does most to like I mean I still look and think of stuff I can do as well, but Fisher definitely does like most of my game planning. But I think it's good just to watch them, just to like sort of get a familiarity with them. Like when you're in there, it doesn't feel like oh this is weird. Like when you've seen someone like on a screen a million times and then like you meet them like realize it's a bit less like of a shot of the system. I think so. I watch his fights quite a bit. Yeah, I think he's got loads of footage on him, so it's good.
Yeah. And so up until this point in your pro career, you've obviously only fought under the Rise and Conquer banner. How excited are you to just appear on a new promotion, get new eyes on you? On you?
Oh yeah, I think fine like because I didn't want everyone to just think as well because obviously like Rising Punk was my home show. I don't think I've had any easy ones, but like I didn't want people just thinking like oh he's like had his fights picked and stuff like that. So it's nice to get on another show where like obviously I've had absolutely no say in this fight. They're like they're from I think the Czech Republic. This show,
Mm,
the base. So like Slovakia is like next door to them. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's not like they've got a dog in the race. I'm sure they're happy. Like whoever wins, like if Paulus wins, so it's not like anyone's doing us any favors. I'm just got to go out there on like my own back. Do you know what I mean? And like it's sort of like, and if there was in there of like I think like obviously he's dropping down to bantamweight, so he's gonna like I don't really know what to expect from that. Maybe that'll benefit him, maybe it'll like super hinder him. It could make him loads worse. But I definitely think that it's a good one for me first fight in Octagon. Like they haven't just like I don't feel like they've like took it easy on us. They've definitely give us one of the good guys. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah. I mean, it shows how much they've actually, looked at you as a fighter and where you're at. That they haven't just, you're not there just to have a hometown guy on the card. You know what I mean? That they really think something about you. That they're giving you a tough opponent like that. I think so. Again, credit to them, and obviously credit, to yourself. Octagon, they're starting to make big moves in the UK. They're really starting to put a focus on it. How big for UK MMA do you think that is?
oh, it's huge because I loads of people have said this before, but like competition's always good, isn't it? Like
Mm,
if one show if there's one show just like dominating the market, then like no one really progresses. But like get like a show like Octagon over here more, you're just gonna say like the levels keep rising and rising in the UK, just like they have been. Like even if you look at like amateur shows now and stuff and how much it's came on, like they're like amateur shows now are like what professional shows were like before, weren't they? Like they're
yeah.
pretty good now. So I just think Octagon coming in, you can only like level it up even more. And then obviously as Octagon get more popular over here as well, they'll just start doing bigger and bigger events over here. Like I hear in like Prague and stuff, they're doing like 11,000 seats and stuff like that. It's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we don't really notice it over here because they haven't been over here until recently. And I think you look at some of the shows they have put on over there, and like you say, they're like, they're like the Cage Warriors level events for there. So it's yeah, it's only a good thing. I mean, obviously they had the fair show in Manchester back end of last year. I don't know if you caught any of that.
Yeah, I did see
Um
it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that was a really good event. And now that people have had a taste for it in the UK, I think the Newcastle one's going to be even bigger, to be honest with you. Um, do you think that we're about to enter a sort of golden age of UK MMA?
We were doing well with like champions and stuff at the minute, aren't we? Like we're right at the top of the like a lot of the divisions. So yeah, I mean. It's hard, isn't it? Because like it always seems to switch over from places to places, doesn't it? Like
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. Whether it's just like when like one fight is really popular, whether it just like inspires like a whole generation, and then you get them sort of later. But I like it. We seem to be smashing it at the minute. Like so, I suppose I think like what it is like obviously the wrestling took a while to really like click over here.
yeah,
So like now when you say like we were always like good like scrappers and people were good on the feet, like but it was just I think the wrestling used to let us down a bit and now like obviously the internet, like people are traveling around and stuff like it doesn't really matter where you're from now, you can learn to wrestle. So I think people are just getting like better and better at it. Like look at Leon Edwards, like he was like
mm,
able to like stop all of Colby's takedowns and stuff like that and like he's like just trained in England pretty much. Yeah, I think he's done like maybe like one camp out in America or something. Like you're not going to learn that much there, so I'm sure he's like learned it all in England.
yeah. I mean, I think now, especially like gyms are starting to work with other gyms, aren't they? Especially like I know, like Next Gen in Liverpool, they've got a gym out in LA, I think it is, or San Diego or something like that as well. So obviously they can get that input there that they're not going to get over here. So it's good. I think, you know, I think a lot of UK gyms could do with helping each other more and sort of getting rid of the sort of I don't know. I feel like there's a sort of tribalism between some gyms sometimes where they don't want to help each other out. But I think the way we grow I think the way UK MMA grows is by obviously helping where you can.
Yeah, I think like to be honest, like a lot of the coaches, like I don't know whether it's just like people like we I suppose Liverpool as well. Like you have loads of gyms. I mean,
Mm,
I get in like a kind of few gyms, you know, like especially like people like do like come around for sparring and stuff. Like anyway, like the gyms around like here are pretty good, you know, for like being like
mm,
interchangeable and stuff. Like obviously, it's a bit of a funny one as well because like when there's only so many gyms around an area and most of the shows are going to have people from that area like you sort of can't spar everyone because then there's no one left to compete with, like especially at
yeah.
amateur. But you do see it quite a bit, like around here, like just going like and sparring at different gyms and stuff like that. Like we are like then. I think the Northeast got like a few good gyms that are like friendly. They all used to train together like back in the day. I think like a lot
Hmm.
of the coaches around here, like if you look at like Alex Enland, Andrew Fisher, Davy Grant, like just all these people that run gyms now, they all just used to train together. So I think it's like they've got like strong links there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good to hear. It's nice. I say you don't hear about it as often as I'd like to, in all honesty, but I suppose that's just the nature of it, like you say. Um, so before I let you go, then, mate, do you want to just give a shout out to your coaches and like your training partners and things like that?
Spot on. Yep. So thank you, Andrew Fisher. He's me main coach, basically does everything. Me striking, grappling, wrestling. So thanks to him, mate. He's obviously he spent loads of time with us at camp as well, like just like really breaking down this guy and giving us like loads of good tips. So shout out to him. Me obviously me karate club that I come from, Junsu Shotokan Karate. Then do you mind if I just rattle off a few sponsors actually, mate? Because I've got a
Go
few
for it.
new. I just feel like I should give them a
Yeah,
shout out for this
I
one.
was gonna ask you that one as well, to be fair. So yeah, go for it.
Uh, it's nice. Do you know what? I've actually like got a few this time. It's nice. It is like getting on a bit of a bigger show, and that I'm starting to see a few people. So thanks to right. So it's CLI Cable Limited. LC International have sponsored us for this one. Magor in Thailand, they're just in like County Durham. So if anyone needs any Thailand round County Durham, then just the same guys as always. So EF Trees, CBD Life UK, Nice Face Apparel, Fighting Fit Physiotherapy. Then that wraps it up, mate. That's everyone.
Lovely.
I've got a
Um,
list now, so I can't miss no one. Do you know what I mean? Do like
that's it.
an apology tour if I miss someone on the screens.
That's it. You're getting bigger, mate. So the list is only going to get bigger as well. So then, lastly, before I let you go, what can fans expect from you when that cage store closes on Saturday?
I think I'm going to be composed, just aggressive, and just looking for the finish, mate. Like always, like I've thought about this a lot, this one, and I'm really just going to go in there and like fight. Like I'm not just going to go in there and just let it be what it is. But I've got like obviously game plan and stuff like that. But I don't think I'm gonna like. I'm not like fixated on anything for this one. I'm just sort of going to be as like free in there as possible.
Yeah. Love it. Well, best of luck, mate. I'll be tuning in, so I'm looking forward to it. Won't be attending this one, sadly, but I will definitely be tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you compete and getting the win. But yeah, just thank you again for the time, mate. I know, as I say, it's a difficult week for you. The weight cut is never easy, is it? But
Nah.
um, so I appreciate you taking the time, mate.
I think it'll be worse for our Paulus though. I think he'll be struggling more than me. I'm doing well here, you know. I'm pretty skinny and light here.
Yeah,
It's going well. It's going well.
good to hear. Good to hear, mate. But yeah, as I say, best of luck, mate, and I'll look forward to tuning in on Saturday.
Right, I'll see you later, mate. Thank you. I'm sure I'll see you around the UK shorts sometime.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Take it easy.